Hello and welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Tuesday. It is How to Tarot Tuesday. And what that is where we discuss one of the 78 card tarot. The first half of the video is a description of the symbols in the card and what they mean. The first deck that we use as an example is always the Rider-Waite-Smith. And then I choose two other decks from my tarot deck collection that with images that I think best represent the card in question. We go through and we talk about the meaning of the card. And then the second half of the video, we go through and you, the viewer, get to choose from one of the three tarot decks. And we'll go ahead and see how that card manifests in your life currently. To clarify, I always use an oracle deck. And today is actually a very special day because today is the very last How to Tarot. And I'm really in awe. I can't believe it, guys. It's been 78 cards. It's been 78 weeks. I started in October of 2019, and here we are in March of 2021. It's been 78 weeks, and I just want to say how grateful I am for my watchers and for YouTube that gives us a platform to do these videos. But it is going to be a little bit of a bittersweet video if you're watching this just out of the blue, and welcome to my channel. But it's going to be a very special day for me because we've come to the end. It all comes down to this. I can't believe it's here. So, but we are ending on a very good note. We're ending with an excellent card. We're concluding the Cup suit, and we're talking about the King. We're talking about the King of Cups. So without further ado, before we get started, if you ever want to skip the how-to part of it, the timestamps are in the description box below, so you can always just click on the timestamp that says pick a deck, and that will take you right to the deck selection. And then after that, you can click on the timestamp for your reading. So feel free if you just want to jump ahead. The how-to part is very helpful. I've noticed that, I've read cards for a long time, but I always learn new things going through the How to Tarot myself. Also, when I watch other channels, it seems like every single time I watch a reading with another reader, they'll give me some kind of new insight on how the card manifests. So by looking at the symbolism, it really does go a long way. I've also noticed that it's very helpful. I post a second reading every Saturday called the Weekly Energy Card Reading. And it's just a reading about the general energies for your week. And I've noticed that if one card, whether it be one of the court cards, one of the cups cards, or one of the majors, if one of the cards is showing up really predominantly, if its energy is really strong, going back, and especially if it's if a card's showing up in the middle of your week, if you go and watch the How to Tarot on it, it really does just kind of give you, I think it helps give you some insight on how to handle those energies, and then it also gives you kind of a platform to continue to learn the tarot going forward. But with that said, one last thing before we get started, I am clarifying using a new deck. If you checked out my my Valentine's Day card reading, there was a deck that I ordered, and it's by Deja Druid. It's called the Love Story Oracle Cards. These did come in, and I'll describe it some more in detail when we get to the card deck description part. And that timestamp is below as well. But I'm stupid excited. These are gorgeous cards. They are everything that I thought they were going to be. And I will be trying to do a flip through for this deck, like a formal review for it soon. And especially once we wrap with the How to Tarot and get, moving forward, I will definitely be doing more of those type of videos. But enough blabbing. Let's go ahead and get started. When you look at the King of Cups, you see a very regal man sitting on a concrete throne. He has a cup in one hand and a scepter in another. And when you look at his throne, it looks very scalloped. It looks kind of like curved back. And he has very unique clothes on. He has one scepter and then one open cup. his necklace has a fish on it, and his robes, much like the Queen of Cups, looks very flowing. It almost looks like water. And, you know, you also see waves, and you see imagery that kind of look like jellyfish, or look more curved and more like sea life. Now, what's interesting is his throne is completely steady, but when you look in the background, it's almost like he's on a platform in the middle of a very, very churning ocean. You see waves moving up and down. In the background, you see one ship that's going up and down, and then you also see another fish that's kind of jumping through the waves, but yet he is unmoved. He's completely level and completely steady, which really, really goes to say a lot about his character. And so when you first see the King of Cups, the first thing that you think is someone who is exactly that. Someone who is calm in the wake of emotional chaos. Like, he's steady, right? When you look at his face, you see a very placid expression and very deep, soulful eyes. So just like the rest of his suit, you know, he's very wise. Just like the Queen, he is the pinnacle. He is the last of his suit, and he is the king. So he is like the male manifestation of the Cups suit. So what he is while the Queen of Cups is kind of in her feminine, receptive expression, the King is in the more yang kind of expressive, like outbound kind of expression of Cups energy. But because it's Cups, because it is emotions and it's heart and it's feeling, you immediately know him to be someone who has a very deep grasp on human nature, someone who's very emotionally wise, right? Like a good leader, right? Like all the kings are leaders, and they're in their element. They're leaders of their element. So, you know, the leader, the masculine king, the assertive leader of the Cup suit, always gives really good advice. And again, just like the rest of his court, it comes from experience, right? He gives advice because he knows how that feels. But in different from the Queen, while the Queen would do it kind of care for people in a more mothering way, he still has a really big heart. He expresses caring for people, but he does it in a masculine way, right? So he gives good advice. He teaches really through attention. Like, this would really be the kind of man who gives you his undivided attention. Someone who's a steady rock. Like, again, you see his throne. His throne is not going up and down with the waves. It's staying steady, you know, but he knows he's out in the middle of the ocean. So he knows how the ocean operates, right? He knows the ups and downs of emotions. But he gives that kind of loving attention to others. He sees, you know, right to the heart of the matter. Like, he really does. It's almost like, again, you know, he doesn't coddle anyone, but what he does is he understands what people are feeling, and he takes actions based on that. Right? So the King of Cups is a very good leader in that sense. And when we get into kind of professions, we'll talk about that some more. He knows what other people need for emotional growth. Like, for instance, I do see this as being like he nurtures in that masculine way. It's real interesting. I kind of see this as being the good, like, HR person, like human resources, because he knows what motivates people on an emotional level. And instead of, but he's very subtle about it, right? Like, if he knows that, you know, like, I see this as being a very good boss as well. You know, a lot of times these folks, just like the Queen, he's very good with psychology. And actually, you know, one of my family members, her boss actually has like a Saturn in Scorpio, and he has a degree in psychology. And he just knows, like, because when you think about it, when people work together, there's guaranteed to be conflict, right? You know, everybody doesn't get along all the time. But this man really knows, you know, what emotional triggers, what triggers people. And I think he knows how to like pair people together correctly. He knows how to calm people down. He knows how to motivate people. Like, I think he knows how to motivate people in a positive way. Like he gets people you know, be happy, you know. I guess the best way, I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words of how to explain this. He knows the psychological motivation. He knows, what's the phrase I'm looking for, when you'd rather, I'm kind of hearing you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. You know, it's kind of like the same thing. It's better to motivate people with praise and what satisfies them emotionally. So he's very good at that. He also knows how to pair people. Like if there's teams and things, he knows how to get, you know, pair the compatible personalities with one another. If you're at work and, you know, your positive motivation is, you know, financial incentives, then he'll make sure you get a raise. If you like time off, you know, make sure you get time off. If you like praise, you know, recognition, he makes sure you have that. So he gets that, and he has lots of experience with that. He just knows how to handle people. He knows how to get to the heart of people. And similar to the Knight, we've talked about this before, sometimes he can be a pretty good salesperson that way. Just because, you know, when it's interesting, you know, you can praise, if you're trying to sell something to someone, you can appeal to their sense, the customer's sense of ego, and sometimes that works if that's, you know, I always think of it kind of like a love language. You know, you've seen that book, The Five Love Languages. The King of Cups speaks all five, right? He's multilingual. But, you know, sometimes when you're selling something, it's really, you can appeal to someone's ego sometimes if that's what, you know, what they'll buy for. But most of the time you have to appeal to someone's sense of security, which is the King of Cups. You know, if you appeal to what someone believes, you know, or someone's emotions, right? If someone's emotionally invested in something, and that can be anything. You know, you can sell something based on the memories that it has for someone. You can sell it on the sense of security that it gives them, the sense of nostalgia, which is a really big Cups concept. But this person's just very, very wise. The other thing is that when it comes to him being the king, and this actually transitions pretty well into the second card. The second card I went with was the Sun and Moon Tarot by Vanessa DeCourt. And I think this is really beautiful. Similar to the Knight, he's kind of riding on a white horse. But what's kind of different is that you see that he's not looking forward, he's kind of looking at the camera. And he has this Cancer popping out of, a little crab popping out of his cup, and there's a full moon, right? And he seems to be riding on top of the waves, right? His horse does look a little otherworldly, right? It looks like a seahorse. But what I love about this is that just like all of the water suit, the king can be any one of the water signs. He can be a Pisces, he can be a Scorpio for sure. And actually, when we see him in the reverse, we'll get a lot more Scorpio vibes from him then. But a lot of times, I really kind of see him as being a Cancer sun sign, or having a moon in Cancer, just because Cancer's the sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon. And it's a very nurturing placement. Cancers are nurturers. They know how to take care of people, right? And a man can be very, and even though it's more of a feminine, you know, it kind of leans towards the feminine, because actually in tarot and in Lenormand, the moon is considered to be the divine feminine, and the sun is considered to be the divine masculine. And honestly, if you have a sun in the sign of Cancer, that can manifest definitely as a King of Cups character, because his sense of ego, his divine masculine energy is being projected through a feminine sign. And it doesn't make him effeminate. The other thing is that if you're reading this in a spread, a woman can definitely be in the King of Cups energy. It just means that you're not being like nurturing in a mothering way. You're being like nurturing in a king way. You know, it's almost like you're keeping a little bit of that masculine edge to you. But I do like to think of the King of Cups as being a Cancer man. And it's quite interesting, and again, you don't have to be quote unquote soft in order to be the King of Cups. One really famous example of this is like in the 80s and 90s, there was a pediatrician, a child doctor, a youth doctor named Dr. Spock, no Star Trek pun intended. And he wrote many books about the psychology of children, about how to raise children, about the health of children at their different stages in life. And very famous author. And he's considered to be the cornerstone of, just like Dr. Ruth is the cornerstone of procreation. Dr. Spock was really about he was really like the what to expect when you're expecting, author. And what's great is that if you look at his chart, he has a lot of Taurus and he has a lot of Gemini, but his moon is flat dab in the sign of Cancer, which is its ruling placement. And in astrology, that's considered exalted. It puts a power. It's like you look at this guy and that's what it is. And he was such a renowned author. You can still get his books today. But what it is that the King of Cups really responds to emotional needs. They make excellent fathers. They're usually the father who knows how to emotionally raise their child, where they're very, that they have a healthy, you see a lot of families that if you go on YouTube or read psychology, there's a lot of talk. It's been a very popular kind of area of psychology about attachment styles. And there's different types of attachment styles. There's anxious attachment style, which is a little kind of clingy. There's a healthy attachment, a secure, what they call secure attachment style, which is very balanced. And then you have an avoidant attachment style, which is someone who avoids or runs away from having any type of intimacy or having any kind of emotional attachment to people. When you look at the king in the upright, this usually indicates a father who raises children of the secure attachment style. He doesn't, as the child, and just like Dr. Spock, as your child is going through the stages of their emotional development, he's careful to raise them and, to be there for them the way they need him to be. And he's caring, so during those different stages, the child is raised in such a healthy way that when they get into their adult life, they're not anxiously clinging to someone, because what would happen is anxious attachment style happens usually when your caretaker abandons you, when they're not there or they don't give you what you need, so then you either cling. Avoidant can be from the same source. Sometimes if someone constantly abandons you and it hurts you repeatedly, instead of trying to attach to people, you will avoid that attachment to avoid pain. So what you do is, it's a little bit like a complete parallel. You either swing one way or the other. But the King of Cups rarely has children this way. This is usually the father who's very, very concerned or very there for their children. Like he's the father who takes you to your sports games, who's there rooting for you, talks to you when you need to be talked to. So he responds to emotional needs so very well. Like again, anytime you need him, he knows how to navigate. He knows how to talk you through or help as you ride the waves of adolescence or being a toddler. This is definitely the father that if their child was like pitching a fit, he would know how to address that behavior. I like to think of it kind of like braces. When your teeth start coming in, and if they're coming in crooked, he knows where to place pressure or place pushback, where it's not too harsh, but you're not getting away with murder, right? And it helps develop you. The other thing is that his example, the way he conducts himself, is an example to the little one as to how you behave, that you don't pitch a fit, that you don't do this, you use your words, things like that. And so he's a very natural healer and kind of therapist with that. I do see this as being kind of a very organic person. Like I see this person as being like the ones who believe in therapy, you know, like putting someone in timeout, you know, versus like spanking and things like that. The other thing is that they can be a very good counselor. You know, they're the person that you can go to and tell, you know, unlike, you know, some of the other kings, you know, might be a little tougher, you know, they might be a little tough love, you know, like they don't, but this is the father that you can really go to with all of your problems. They really are the shoulder that you can cry on. And this person also takes action to help those in need. Much like the Queen, he has a very open heart. He's a very good philanthropist, but a lot of times I do see this as like, it's funny, I follow a channel on both Instagram and Facebook called The Dodo. And it's amazing, and it talks about rescued animals, and you see a lot of men who rescue animals and rehabilitate them. And it is like very King of Cups, you know, like I saw this one really wonderful video about this man who found an abused pit bull, and it was an aggressive animal when he found him. Not all pitties are like that, not at all. Most of them are really, really sweethearts. But he did find one that was so horribly abused that he was aggressive. And he with just like I said, just like with braces, he knew when to be compassionate and when to be soft and when to, you know, kind of be firmer. And the dog completely did a 180. The dog, the next, you know, after all of the care that he got, he was like the sweetest thing. You would not have thought that it was the same dog at all. And that's kind of like the King of Cups. Again, he's a king. He's not gonna coddle you, but he is gentle. He's compassionate in the way that he does things. He does feel compassion for those less fortunate. The other thing is that with kind of a Cancer influence, just like the Queen of Cups, this man can be a very good cook. Because Cancer sun signs usually, again, they like nurturing, and that can be with food. But it's interesting because when you look at the astrological charts of a lot of chefs, like Gordon Ramsay has a lot of Aries, but I think it's interesting, he has a lot of Aries on, I think, on the 4th house, which kind of rules home, and the you know, so he's real tough. He's like a drill sergeant, but he's good, you know. The other thing is that, what was it? I was such a huge fan of the HBO show Selena Plus Chef. Has Selena Gomez, and one of the chefs that she had on that show was a chef Roy Choi. And Roy Choi, oh my gosh, he seems like such a King of Cups to me, because during the pandemic he'd make meals for free and give them out to people who needed it, and he just has such a nurturing way about him. I do kind of think of King of Cups. I haven't seen his astrological chart, but I bet you there's probably some water in there somewhere. But, you know, but he does, this would be someone who does a lot of volunteer or charity work, someone who does things to benefit others. You know, the other thing I've seen is that there was a video that I saw where a man goes around and he picks up the blankets of those who are homeless, like the sleeping bags of those who are homeless, and he goes to the laundromat, he launders, washes, and dries them and brings them back folded up on the same park bench so the person can have them again. It's just, that's the kind of compassion that I see when I see this kind of card for a man or a masculine energy. The other thing is that this person is so reliable. This person is someone you can trust with your secrets. If you had someone to turn to, so like if this is like an uncle or a grandfather, this is someone that you can tell your deepest, darkest secrets to. And when you see it as a king, a lot of times it can be those, this king is excellent for raising young men, because so many young men don't feel like to express emotion is weak. And the King of Cups proves that you completely wrong. He shows that expressions of emotions in a calm, collected, steady way is the biggest strength that you can have. And gosh, you know, he's just so, when he comes up in a read, it's so freaking attractive because of that, you know. You can be strong and still be nurturing, right? And that is the essence of this king. But that also plays into it where this man is very calm. He maintains his composure. This does kind of cross the line into a little bit of Scorpio energy, just because Scorpions they have a good poker face. Like, you never know what the Scorpion, the heart and mind of a Scorpion person runs deep, right? Deep ocean. But they're never going to show on their face what they think. And actually, when you look at it, that Rider-Waite expression so does that. It's like, do you know what's going on? The other thing is that they usually have very deep eyes. It's almost hypnotic, which is a very Scorpio thing. But they can see through you, but it's almost like you'll get lost, you know, if you try. And they keep themselves composed. They don't get out of control. They keep it under control, right? But they do have that quiet kind of presence. They have a calming influence on others. They keep their emotions in check, but they can allow you to express yours. And it's almost like you sync to them, right? We said in the Queen of Cups, she's very intuitive. She's very psychic. The King of Cups is very psychic too, but it's almost like if you are feeling out of sorts, when you get into this man's orbit, it's almost like, it is almost like an aura with this. He brings you up to his vibration when you're around him. So if you're feeling emotionally chaotic, you get around his presence, and it's almost like, it's like meditation without you having to do anything. He sinks to you and gets you on his level. And he is calm. Even though the other thing that you get is that the King of Cups has probably known a lot of chaos in his life. But he always has a calming influence, you know, on other people. I always say this, you know, there are some people that you get around and they're just, it isn't that they're never upset. It's just, they don't share their chaos with anyone. And when you're feeling chaotic, it's almost like they can kind of bring you under their wing, and they soothe you. Right? You just, again, they get you to sync with them, and then they kind of bring you down. They bring you up to their level of balance emotionally. But he definitely is the person to have in the face of a crisis. You know, so he's level-headed, and he never seems tense. He doesn't let his emotions show. He might actually be tense, but a lot of times this person does know how to either meditate, or they just know how to balance out their emotional state to such a good degree. They're very cultured. They're someone who understands, you know, just the nature. I think the other thing is, with all that emotive energy, you know, half the reason that they can kind of walk in the room and really calm everyone down is because when I say cultured, it's almost like this, if this person's a businessman, and as a king, he can definitely be that. When he walks into the room, it's almost like if he knows that there's other people around the table from different countries, he's very well aware of, because when you think of water, you think of what you believe, right? Your scruples, like your principles. And he is the person that he's very PC with that. Like, if you came into again a boardroom, and you have one person who's from another country, and you look at the menu and you're like, oh my God, we're going to serve something for lunch that would totally, like, for instance, where is it? In India, cows are considered sacred. You're not going to serve hamburgers to somebody, you know. It's like he understands those kind of nuances. So he's cultured in the sense that he understands people's beliefs, and he knows how to, again, get everyone to the level where no one is offending anyone else, and he rides those waves, right? He is also good to have in those situations where if a faux pas comes up, you know, somebody screws up and, you know, orders hamburgers for lunch. He knows how to smooth it out. He knows how to appeal to someone's emotions and kind of, you know, and he does it with like a professionalism and a dignity, right? The other thing I get is that he is a good mediator, in the sense that if this man works in customer service, or if he works in as a like a boss for a customer service team, he knows how to speak to customers who are upset, and, you know, because he's good at empathy. He empathizes well. He is also very, you know, again, very diplomatic. You know, he gets everyone working together happily. You know, he knows how to mediate if two coworkers are not getting along. You know, he knows how to diffuse tense situations. You know, he can go in and he knows what's important to all the parties involved. You know, he definitely achieves goals in a very modest way. One thing that is kind of magnetic about him is that it's almost like he puts out fires, literally water, fire. He puts out fires and you almost didn't even realize how he did it. Like he just smooths everything over. And then he doesn't, you know, unlike if this were the King of Wands, he'd kind of want praise for it. This man doesn't want praise. He just wants peace. He wants emotional peace. And then once everything gets back to normal, he'll kind of like, it's almost like he'll drift right back out of the room and you're like, oh my gosh, wow, you know, the way that, you know, he does that is just really miraculous. It's a very subtle influence. And then he just knows how to say the right thing at the right time, right? Again, he's definitely the right person to have in the room if someone says something awkward, you know. He's also very good at laughing at himself, you know. You know how sometimes the most embarrassing moment that you could ever have, maybe your fly was open in front of like 100 people while you were giving a speech, you know, kind of chuckling or laughing and going, oh gosh, my barn door's open, let me take care of that, okay, I'm back, you know. He kind of you know, I've read this in psychology. Appealing to your sense of humanity is the easiest way to connect people. And honestly, as the king, you know, a lot of times you walk in a room and you think, you know, you think that you're the intimidated one. Sometimes when you're teaching, it's everybody else is intimidated by you. And by cracking that joke or, you know, having your fly open, you know, it kind of makes you human. And it adds to the connection. But now the last card I went with is the Anna K Tarot, and this was a tough choice. I really had to audition my cards, but this king always stuck out to me because you see a night sky, and then you see candles over the fireplace, and you see him reading a book, right, with a blanket. His robes look like blankets, and he's got what looks like it looks like dandelions, but you know what? I'm forgetting the name of this flower, but it's a healing flower. I'll try to find the name of it. But this is definitely the third and last meaning of the king, is that in the upright, he's a very homey person. He's such a homey person. Like, he knows how to build a home and hearth. And the other thing is that's what he does as a king. He creates an emotional sanctuary for his wife and for his family. Now, you know, he's very tolerant in the way that he treats people. So I did want to kind of save this card for last, because when it comes to this king, when he comes up in a romance read, like if you see this next to the Lovers, or if you see the King and the Queen of Cups next to each other, you know, it's interesting how this man is an emotional sweetheart. And really, if you're looking, like, if you have a little bit more of a tough-edged personality, if you are a woman and you've either had a tough time dating or you just feel like you're not compatible with anyone, when you see the King of Cups come up in a read, this is going to be a really, really good match. This is someone who's flexible, someone who's tolerant, right? And again, this can be a Pisces man, and Piscean men are very, very kind. And it's one of those things where, like, maybe if in your dating life, like if you're a woman and you've been cheated on, or if you have an anxious attachment style where you do, it's almost like, or if you have an avoidant attachment style, really, if you are just a little bit, if you're a little bit hard to, I hate to say it, not like hard to love, but if you have a few hard edges from the experiences that you've had in your dating life, when the King of Cups comes up in a read, that is such a blessing, because this man understands, and this man will be patient with you. If you're having a rough day and you're getting a little snippy, he'll give you your space. I kind of joke. There was a meme that I saw that one time said, okay, if you approach me and I growl, then he knows how to back away slowly and throw chocolate at you. That's this man. He won't catch an attitude. He won't get into a fight with you. He'll understand. And he kind of bases, you know, and again, he's very steady. If you're feeling chaotic, he's on the level. The other thing is that he knows when you need space. He knows when to approach. He knows when you need a hug. It's that kind of tolerance. So he really does understand the limitation of others. He does. The other thing is this man takes nothing personally. He takes no action personally. If you got into a fight with someone and he happened to mention the subject, you know, like the other day, one of my best friend actually has a Venus in Pisces, and he's got the patience of a saint. He really does. And it's funny, I had gotten into a little bit of a snippy conversation with my sister, and I was a little sore about it. I was just in a bad mood, and I have a stellium in Cancer, so definitely when my moods swing in, they swing. But and the topic kind of came up, and the moment I was like, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, yeah, I didn't mean to bring that up. And then he did. He gave me some space, and it's funny. The tide ebbed really fast, and I think the tide ebbed even quicker because of his compassion. Right? He, you know, didn't take it personally that I got a little snippy, and I try not to do that often. But this is the type of person who allows people their freedom because, again, he knows the emotional balance. He knows how to ride the waves. The other thing is that if you are if you have more water in your chart and you do kind of need somebody that kind of goes with your ebbs and flows, because I'll tell you, you know, goodness knows, I have such a stellium that definitely when a bad mood rolls in, the only thing that will really get me through is someone who could ride the waves, who can surf the waves, you know. But that is this type of person. The other thing is that he is very protective. He knows how to create a sanctuary for people. So just like people who shelter pets, he knows how to make you feel safe emotionally. And you can tell this person anything. He's a confidant, right? The other thing is that he makes a very safe home. You know, there's nothing that's going to happen behind the four walls of your house that are going to hurt you. That it's a nurturing kind of haven. The other thing is that he's an excellent listener. And again, you know, sometimes it can just be your best friend, right? It can be your best friend. But definitely when this man pops up in a reading, the other thing that I see when I see him pop up in a reading is that this is just like the Queen of Cups is just like when you're playing cards, she's the Queen of Hearts. Ladies, this is the King of Hearts. This is the man who loves you. So if this comes up in a relationship, if you're curious whether or not a man cares for you and the freaking King of Cups comes out, you have this man's heart. This man belongs to you emotionally. And the other thing is, again, you know, that it usually shows it's that person who's there for you, just there for you. It's interesting. So to kind of go into situation, this can be a boss who's just very emotive. It can be like it can be a manager who works in customer service. It can be an HR executive, a human resources person who just knows how to, you know, motivate. If it is a boss, it's someone who's very psychologically savvy, where he knows how to motivate you and he knows how to get people working well together. If he's a CEO, he's the person who really just knows how to speak to people and how to get opposing energies all on the same page. It can be someone who sells homes. This can be a realtor, you know, someone who makes you feel safe, you know, selling you your home. It can be a father or a pediatrician, someone who teaches. It can be a male nurse as well. Definitely can be a male nurse, and you see those. They're such heroes. Or it can be an EMT. You know, someone who if you see this with fire energy. But a lot of times in situations, it can be like It can be someone that lends you an ear, someone who's very lean on. It can definitely be someone that you love. Like it can be your man. Now, there was a great movie that I watched that was, oh gosh, I think it's called As Good as It Gets. Um, I'll put the name of it. I'll put it in the description box. But it starred Hugh Jackman, and I think it's Naomi, not Naomi Judd, but one of the Judd sisters. And what it was is that she'd had this heartbreak with kind of a Knight of Cups kind of character guy, and she ends up confiding in one of her coworkers. And one scene in that movie, I'll try to find it, is when her sister was pregnant and pretty far along, and her sister suffered a miscarriage. And she went to the hospital to see her sister, and her sister's husband was there. And he was comforting her sister. So it was her brother-in-law and her sister. And she reflects on that moment because he was there and holding her and telling her it was going to be okay. And when it comes to situations, that is the King of Cups. Because the other thing that this king gets such a bum rap because people make him out like he's soft because he's the king of emotions, but he is so strong and he is so quiet about it. This is the man who would comfort you when you've had a miscarriage. He's the husband that does those wonderful things for your children and no one sees. The other thing I kind of get it is also the husband who's never on Facebook, like, but he's always behind the scenes, like he's quietly, again, he just wants peace. He wants everybody to be happy and healthy and going, and he wants no praise from it. He's not wands, he's cups, right? And it's just those good guys. It's that good man. It's the king of hearts is what this man is, right? So when it comes to people, it can be one's father. It can be like that soulmate husband, spouse, man, a mature, emotionally stable person. It can be a grandfather. It can be a trusted advisor, someone who's just really, been around the block a few times. It can be a counselor. It can be a man of dignity who's just quiet and kind and well-respected. I really kind of think of, what is it? I always think of, when I think of the King of Cups, I think of Mr. Rogers. He used to be a soldier, right? And he came back and, and in his retirement years, he taught children the importance of kindness and inclusivity and again, just, kindness. The other thing I get is, LeVar Burton and the way he reads to children, reading Rainbow. Who else? Bob Ross. Because cups can be painting too, right? Cups can definitely be artistic, right? Someone who's very cultured. It can be a teacher. It can be honestly, if you see this next to the Hierophant, it can definitely be a pastor, because cups and wands are very spiritual. They're emotional. It can be someone who teaches New Age topics, like it can be an astrologer. Again, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Stephen Forrest has Cancer in his chart. I think he has some Pisces. But it can be someone in helping professions, a man of ideas. It could be a pediatrician or a veterinarian for sure. A kind doctor, or sometimes it can be a judge or a lawyer, but I kind of see this more of maybe someone in social service, like somebody who's a judge for like a social was a caseworker. It can also be, again, it can be a good friend or an artist, but someone who's just very in touch with his emotional life, someone who's deep and intellectual on that artistic level. But it can also be a cook or anybody who helps with the 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 cultivating of a safe and healthy home life. It can be also someone who does interior design. But I'll go ahead, and so that's the king in the upright. Now, when you think of the king in reverse, anytime a card is in reverse, it either means that the energy is blocked or it is coming through in a negative manifestation. And a negative manifestation of cups is pretty heavy stuff. So first off, when you see it in reverse, the first thing that astrologers think of, and I know this is kind of crazy, is you really do kind of think of a smarmy person, like a sleazy person. Just because, again, it's like all of those waters are kind of tainted. Those water, it's dirty water, right? It's not clean water. And murky, deep, dark, tainted water is tainted emotions. It's tainted morals. So a lot of times it can be bad advice, like someone who's kind of leading you, down, a bad path. And they're kind of using, just like this man can sell based on your needs, he can also kind of be like, hey, you need a little bit more money. Why don't we do this? Kind of like, it can be someone who's, encouraging you to gamble. It can be someone who's just scheming. It can be like a really immature, like a really emotionally immature man, like someone who really just kind of, again, here the waves, the rocky waves are above him. So it's like, I kind of think of someone who gets themselves into hot water or gets in over their head is what I kind of think. It can be a real emotionally insecure person. Again, it can be a real stunted king, someone, that just someone who lets their emotions get the better of them, because again, the king in the upright is in control, this person isn't. So sometimes it can be someone who gets into fits of paranoia or insecurity. If you see this next to wands, sometimes it can be fits of rage or action. Sometimes it can be a really false front. It can be someone who's acting like they have it all together emotionally, but they're really like falling apart inside. The other thing is that this can be, because this rules the father, and it rules, like, again, like raising your, supporting your wife and raising your family in a real, healthy way in the upright. What I kind of see is I see a little bit of unhealthiness. So a lot of times it can be that it can be those kind of smarmy deals where people involve their emotions along with their dealings. And the best way I can describe this, and I do have to kind of relate it to a movie, is that if you've ever seen the original Godfather, you know how, like, Michael Corleone, he had a wonderful wife. Like, he had a good, happy wife, and he loved his kids. But what he kept doing is he kept getting in, it's kind of that mafia thing. He was raised to be the new Godfather. So it's almost like pulling your family into that. And even though his wife, and again, that's, how is that being a good emotional barometer, an ethical person, if you know what you're doing is illicit or illegal, but you keep getting yourself in deeper and you're willing to bring your kids into it. You're willing to groom them to be your replacement. Your wife is sensing something's wrong, and you're kind of gaslighting her to get her to go along with you. And then, again, just like the Queen of Cups in reverse, the King of Cups can be very emotionally manipulative. So just like in that movie, he was coercing her to stay. He was trying to do, and he loved her. He wasn't going to do the same power play that he did with someone else, but, he wasn't going to let her leave. So it is kind of that coercion. The other thing is that it definitely goes into like double dealing and kind of con games. The king in reverse can definitely point to nepotism, like meaning that, you bring your family into your business life to kind of in a shady under the table kind of way. maybe you're getting kickbacks, and you got you got deals for some kind of business, and you're giving that business to your family to keep it in the family, which is also a little bit mafia, but sometimes it can be a lot of loss that way. The other thing is that sometimes it can be insecurity in that sense, like maybe you feel like you have to live up to, if you do have that kind of family pressure, this can be a sign of that, where it's like, oh, okay, well, I have to, be the next Dawn, I have to be the next, but in a more modern sense, like sometimes this can be a sign that you're getting pulled into family matters and you don't want to. Maybe your father owns a restaurant chain and you don't want to own the restaurant chain, but you're going to get sucked into it, and they're going to kind of pull you into it. Now, the other thing is it can be a lot of deception. It can be someone who just lies. Again, it can be a lot of complicated, like entangled alliances, usually crossing the lines of family, because there's emotions involved here, right? Sometimes it can be that you're working with family because you have no other choice but to. Now, the other thing is that it can lead to fraud that way, maybe someone's being deceptive. Now, when it comes under the label of power plays, this can definitely be a politician, for sure. Because again, there's a lot of illusion with it. There's kind of the perception, and they always say it, politicians have that false front, that smile, that, and not to demonize, but it's true. Politicians want a one size fits all. And that's the other thing we talked about. In the upright, the King of Cups knows how to manage or smooth out differences. Here, this is someone who might want to appear like they're smoothing out differences, but underneath the surface, it's all a bloody mess. And what do politicians kind of do most of the time? They try to find policies that are blanket, that apply and appeal to everyone. And how often, let's be real, does that ever work? But there's a lot of money involved, there's a lot of power, there's a lot of influence, and definitely all of those things, and especially when it pertains to what is of value to people, especially their beliefs or their sense of security and the sense of emotional security, that can definitely be a corrupt politician. But a lot of times it can be treachery, sometimes it can be violence. Sometimes this can be an abusive father, like a psychologically abusive father, like someone who really just kind of gets screwed up. So, sometimes it can be, exploitation. It can be exploitation of feminines. It can be exploitation of children. Of the two, and I don't, a little bit of a trigger warning here, of the two kings that can talk about sexual abuse, the King of Wands in reverse and the King of Cups in reverse. And particularly the King of Cups, just because the cup is the symbol of a woman's chalice or vessel. So sometimes this can be a little bit more of a sign of a domestic abuse kind of situation. But a lot of times it is just kind of like a self-indulgence, where this person doesn't want to be nurturing. This can be a sign of a little bit, and I don't like the term, but it's kind of true with this. It can be a narcissist. It can be someone who's just to get their emotional needs met. And there is a lot of like gaslighting with this card, because they'll make you feel like you're crazy, even though they're the ones who are pulling the emotional puppet strings. It can be a lot of escapism. Again, with it being a cup, just like all of the cups suit, it can be addictions to things, and particularly alcohol. With this being more of a male figure, it can definitely be someone who hits the bottle, or it can be the sign of an alcoholic, either father or male patriarch. It can be talking about dependency or addictive behavior. And in a more emotional sense. So sometimes this can mean gambling. It can be whatever gives you that kind of emotional kind of dependence. That's what it can be in an extreme in the reverse. Now, when it comes to situations, this can be someone that, this can just be a real caution that you're being led emotionally, or you might not have all the facts, that you might be giving in to someone who is not trustworthy, right? The other thing is, this can definitely be someone that if you're telling your secrets to, if this is like a CEO or a business situation, this person is gonna, this can be a sign of someone taking your idea and trying to run with it. You be careful, danger Will Robinson, if you're sharing secrets with this person, especially industry secrets or, political secrets. Someone may be using you by playing on your emotions for their own gain. The other thing is that this might be a man who tries to appear as if he's like that he's the King of Cups, the King of Hearts, but really he is not. He's just a real, again, a real shady, slimy guy. He can be a con man. One other character that I kind of think of when I see this in reverse is if you've ever seen Catch Me If You Can. Because it is, in that movie, when you talk to him, I forget the name of the actual guy. It's based on a real story, but the actual guy who wrote all those checks and conned everyone, he just, when you analyze his psychology, he just wanted to try new things, and he didn't want to take the time to actually become a doctor, become these things, and definitely makes him a con man. But he's a little bit of a chameleon, right? And tell me that's not water, right? The other thing is with the cups in reverse, not to be, graphic, but one of his biggest cons was that he wrote a check to a real high profile, like, madam, like a prostitute who was really like top dollar, and he wrote her a check for $5,000 and got change back, and then of course bounced that check. So that's just to give you a parameter of that's the kind of cons that we're talking about here. And again, he's charismatic, right? The guy was charismatic. That's how he got away with flying planes, even though he did not have a pilot's license. It's like, oh my God. But basically, it's in a situation, it just kind of means if it's too good to be true, it probably is, and you're dealing with someone who's very either real delusional or really conniving, and he knows what he's doing. And especially if it's a king, I mean, be afraid, be careful, be very careful. Now, when it comes to people, this is the master manipulator. It's a narcissist. It's someone who looks out for number one emotionally. He'll leave you by the wayside in a blink, and he's actually very skilled at doing that, right? But the thing is, he gets you hooked, thinking, you think he's this, wonderful, caring person, and then you find out real quick he's not, right? The other thing is that sometimes it can be a very kind of lethargic or lazy, kind of self-indulgent man. It isn't, again, it's about getting his needs met and not really giving to anyone else. The cup is for himself. Sometimes it can be, it can be a little bit of a player, but definitely more of a mature one who's been in the game for a long time. This isn't someone who's learning the game. It's someone who's adept, who is master of the game. Now, it can be someone who is, it could be someone who really just is out to get your secrets. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a spy energy, or, a swindler in that, sense. If you do see it, you want to be careful. Sometimes it can be someone who's, if it's like a real estate agent, it might be someone who's selling you the money pit just so they can make commission. But they're kind of playing on your emotions, The other thing is that, again, I would be careful if you see this next to like an elderly card, because sometimes that can be a sign of elder abuse, somebody who's really making you think that they're caring for someone and then they're not, but the other thing is that it can be, like a teacher or someone who, again, in the danger of the like physical abuse characters, this is a pretty scary guy when you see in the reverse. But you definitely need to look at surrounding cards. But last but not least, when it comes down to it, can be, you know, someone who is alcoholic or a bit of a gigolo. But when you see it in reverse, definitely take heed if you see it in kind of a relationship spread, because what it is that you might think that this is the King of Hearts, but really he's not what you think he is. You know, don't judge by appearances. The other thing is, judge him by his actions, not by his words or the way that he tries to smooth talk you, right? Or how, because when you get around him, he gets you to feel deep. But, you know, whether or not he follows through is with his actions and the way he treats you, right? But whether in the upright or in the reverse, the King of Cups is an excellent card to end off on, because he is the, you know, he's an anchor of emotion. He's the kind and giving person. He's the patient and tolerant nurturer. And he is definitely worthy of the crown for his suit. So, all right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into the reading part. We've got 3 wonderful decks here. First deck is the Rider-Waite-Smith by AGM, and with it we have a beautiful sunstone. The second deck is the Sun and Moon Tarot by Vanessa DeCourt, and we have a beautiful obsidian, which is a very deep, it's a good emotionally purging stone. And then the last deck we have is the Anna Kay with the Smoky Quartz. And I mentioned in the intro, the clarifying card is my new deck. It's the Love Story Oracle cards. If you caught my Valentine's Day reading, this deck is new by Deja Druid, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I am going to be making a bag for it, but the box is absolutely wonderful on its own. It's like magnetic closure. And it's a 44 card deck. And what it is it gives beautiful different emotional, like it says effort, regret, guarded. This is just a wonderful deck because it has an equal number of expressions for you know, different romantic or like emotionally based kind of situations. And I thought this was going to be great. I just thought this would pair so well with this card for the King of Cups. But it's a gorgeous deck, and I am going to be trying to do like a review and walkthrough for it soon. And actually, now that once the How to Tarot wraps, I'm going to have a lot more time to do that. So stay tuned. I will try to have that out soon. But I'll go ahead and let you choose your cards. If you need more time, please choose from your jellies, choose from your intuition. If you need more time, please pause the video, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. So deck number 1, the A.G. Mueller Rider-Waite-Smith. Let's go ahead and see, how does the King of Cups manifest in your life? Okay, present energy. Okay. Future energy. Oh my gosh. Okay, please clarify the Two of Pentacles, please. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm getting such a clear reading here, guys. This is powerful. I'm really curious. We're going to do your love story oracle cards. And you see this, right? See this sticking out? Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is like neon flashing sign, guys. This is, I don't get a sense this is your energy. This is somebody that you're asking about. This is a love interest. And to be quite honest, you think that this person does not, I really get the feeling like you might have had a falling out with this person in the past. Like there might have been some kind of like verbal kind of exchange. The other thing is that it might have come really fast. The other thing that I get is that I think that this person might have like told you that they didn't love you or that they couldn't be with you. Either that, or you know what I'm hearing, guys? Because the other thing is that with the middle energy, you see the riding waves. You see how there's waves all throughout these two things. Someone let you go. I really get a sense that this might have been a relationship that you had with someone, and you either in the past or in the recent past, you really might have had some kind of verbal exchange with this person, and this person said something along the lines of, we need to let each other go, or I cannot be with you, or I can't. They were being like, they were doing some kind of emotionally right thing. And what I'm really kind of thinking is that this person either has children, or they are like in some kind of situation with their family where they have to be like, they have to be there for their family, so they felt like they really couldn't be there for you. The other thing that might have been is that this person might have actually, made something else, made their family a priority over you, and maybe you were the one who was in the Knight of Swords energy. Like maybe you were the one that really kind of told them what for, like, why, and not in a mean way. It's just one of those things. Like maybe, they the what I'm hearing, and this is crazy, guys. I'm hearing that they regret what they said to you in the past. Someone matured really, really fast. And this kind of quick energy, I do see that with either men, and I'm gonna say man because it's a masculine figure, but you assign the genders as they resonate. I get the sense nothing makes you grow up freaking faster than when you have a kid. When you have a baby, that'll take you out. That'll take you warp speed out of night energy and straight into king energy. So, but I do get the sense that maybe this person grew the heck up really, really fast. But in the past, or when I first picked up the deck, the Six of, Chariot, oh God, yeah. And opposing energies too. When I first started shuffling, the Six of Cups was on the bottom of the deck. So this might be someone that you knew a long time ago, possibly in childhood, and you did not stay together. Maybe this person was a little verbally blunt, or they said things to you that they regret now. Like they wish, I keep hearing that they want to take back their words. Now that they're in a place of kind of understanding their emotions, and, they regret what happened. Either that, or you did have some kind of verbal fallout, and now this person is much more, I think this person's replaying conversations that you had with one another, and something about what you said to them might have been kind of blunt, but it helped them grow. It made them grow the F up really quickly. But the other thing I kind of get is the only way to go that lightning fast is to have a kid. Six of Wands and strength, yeah. But so in the past, there were words exchanged. The other thing that I can kind of get is that maybe this person really did just kind of, they were more in their head in the past, and then later they realized what they really needed emotionally. And I think it took some journeys to do that, because you see the boat, right? It's about, sometimes when you go out into the world and you have other relationships, you realize, oh my gosh, I'm much wiser now, much more wise now, right? I'm the king. Now, this can be your energy. Maybe in the past, maybe you've matured a lot, just because maybe in the past you were real quick to shoot things down verbally, because again, the Knight of Swords has no filter. If he doesn't like something, he'll be like, all right, you know what I always think of? I always think of that TV show, The Weakest Link. You are the weakest link. It's like you're cutting people off kind of quick, right? Kind of baby with the bathwater kind of energy. But here, I do get a sense this is a different person. And I get the feeling like you have this person's heart. This person is emotionally loyal to you. But I do get the sense that they might have kind of pushed themselves away, or you didn't stay together. because they felt like it was the emotionally right thing to do was to leave. But I do think that they regret what they said to you, though. Now, this person, this is interesting, is that they've got the Two of Pentacles. And again, you see how much you see the same ships, right? The same ships. This person is juggling. This person is juggling. They're juggling two financial responsibilities. They might be juggling two jobs. They might be juggling their feelings for you. Whatever responsibility that they chose over you, or felt like it was the morally right thing to do, you know? Again, this is someone who does in the upright, he does the right thing for the right reasons. You know, he's morally sound. But I see right now he is kind of juggling. The other thing I kind of get is that, again, this character looks like he almost looks like a performer, right? So I think there might be, you know what I'm getting? I think this person with this many pentacles, this person might really have to stay on the emotional level for work. The other thing that we get is that, like, the root of this is the Five of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. This person might really be juggling to stay out of financial poverty. The other thing that I kind of get is that, yeah, I think this person's juggling to stay. I do, again, with the King of Cups, he is kind of that CEO kind of character. He really needs to know how to emotionally, he needs to keep his emotions on the level. And when he deals with people, he also has to know what appeals to them. So this energy, this person is focusing on work and focusing on money, and that's where their loyalty lies. And I get the sense that it's almost for, like, to support a family, or, but I do think that you have this person's heart. You have this person's heart. I think the other thing is that, again, if they feel like if they feel like they're out in the cold with you, because I do notice how the Five of Pentacles is right here, they regret how things ended. I also think that they felt like they were really immature, and then they matured really quickly. But they wish that they could take back what they said to you. The other thing I get is that they really feel like they're out in the cold with you. I'm also hearing they throw themselves into work to not think about you. But that doesn't make your memory go away. They just kind of juggle it. They go with the up and down of it. But I do think that they have to, this is a delicate balance right now. They have to stay composed for right now. And this might have to do with work or security. That's the other thing, is that this might be family security. Things are still too up and down right now. Present energy, they're still up and down. They're earning more money though. They're earning more money, but it's not steady just yet. It's not steady just yet. And they're again, you know, but this person is very, very focused on money right now. If this is your energy, you're really, really focused on money. And it's almost like because you need to, and I get the sense that you're keeping your emotions in check. You're keeping your emotions in check. You're doing what you need to do. You're doing the right thing to do. The other thing is that I do get the sense like you might have to keep your composure again in a work environment. Like the other thing about this juggler is that he can't let anybody see him sweat. He makes it look effortless, but he's doing a lot. You know, he's handling a lot. I really get the sense that you're under a lot of pressure, but you got to keep juggling right now. You can't you have to stay composed. The other thing is that I get the sense like you might have to appeal to higher ups. That's what I'm really hearing. And in order for you to continue on your path to earn more money or to do what you need to do, it's almost like you have to appeal and stay with the flow of things. You have to, I do almost kind of see this as like, if your boss tells you to do something, it's yes, sir. Right? Or if things get out of balance, you have to be the person that smooths it out. Like you're the smoother person. That's your job, right? Even though it's a lot of pressure, but you don't let that pressure show. The other thing is that I do think that you have to probably keep everybody on the same page. Again, you have to, and this might have to do with some kind of, because these ships really do look like merchant ships that bring in, they bring commodities. Like, I think of people who sell and buy goods, that might be something that either your person or you are involved in. Like maybe you do purchasing, or you have to supply and demand. You have to keep things. The other thing is that is really a sign of this, like production, producing things. You have to keep that production going. You have to keep things rolling, and it's ebb and flow. It's ebb and flow. You have to keep everything smooth. But I do get the sense that you have to appeal to higher ups too. Like you have to keep the machine going, but you make it look effortless. The other thing is I do get the sense like you have to appeal to just like I said, like you might have different cultures in the room, or you might have different beliefs in the room, and you have to keep everybody on the same page or appear, again, just, keeping everything in stride. But it's hard for you though. It's not easy. And I do get the sense that you might have like 2 financial responsibilities. But you have to keep working. You might have 2 jobs. Or, 2 families. I know that sounds funny, but that's not entirely unheard of. If you have a wife and children, and then maybe your parent needs, financial support or something like that, it can still be family. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything crazy, but as you move forward, you got some interesting energy here. Is that you got the Magician, and underneath it you have the Hanged Man. I think moving forward, I think that whatever you're doing business-wise right now, the sacrifice that you're making, you keeping composed, you being the anchor. I'm hearing anchor, but the juggling, the going with the flow that you're doing presently. Moving forward, it's almost like you're seeing the benefit of what you've gone through. Sometimes you go through those times where you have to keep your composure, but later you're going to see how much it's taught you, right? Again, he's the king. He's the mature masculine. You've really grown a lot. The other thing that I kind of get with this is that you're looking for the time when you can start your own thing. Maybe you're looking to start your own business, or you're using these resources to to do what you want to do moving forward. The other thing is there's lilies really talk about maturity, and you do have 3 of the elements on the table. Like a lot of pentacles, and you've got a cup. He has a sword. The only present one that's not here is the wands, but I think the other thing I get from this, especially with these 2, is that you're learning the power that comes from influence, right? The ability to influence someone, You know, the other thing is that you do see this with businessmen and politicians, and the ability to be that stabilizing force gives you a lot of clout when you walk into the room, right? When you walk into a room and you know what you're talking about, and you know, it's one of those things where moving forward, I do get the sense like you want to start something that's your own. It could be your own business, or you want to kind of manifest your own abundance. I think you're still going to be a little bit hesitant though. And I get the sense that it's because you've worked so hard. You know, you had to work so hard. And you didn't, again, that's a lot of emotional maturity from that. You know, once you've known kind of financial hardship, you never forget that. And even though it makes you very seasoned emotionally, it might make you a little bit hesitant to try new things, right? But it is really showing me that these experiences are going to develop you. They have developed you, and then moving forward, when you're ready, when you're ready to come out of the Hanged Man energy, you can manifest anything that you want to. And I think that this has really taught you. One other way I can see it is maybe this is a mentor, you know, maybe this is someone that you're learning from. No, yeah, Four of Pentacles. Yeah, your person, this is either, if this is a person that you're asking about, you have their heart. They love you, but I think they kind of had to push you away because they're having some kind of financial difficulties. They're holding on to their money. The other thing that I kind of get is that if this person is supporting a family, it's possible that they have two financial obligations. It could be their immediate family, but then also family by marriage. And things that money's really tight right now. Now, moving forward, if this is, they might want to make some kind of action towards you. Again, they might come back and you know, do something, but right now that they're suspending that action. I think they really want to come towards you. That's the thing. This magician is really like the ability to manifest anything they want, but the Hanged Man is reserved. It's pulled back because it's a very uncomfortable position, right? And what is financial poverty? That's a very uncomfortable position. And you know, this person's almost seeing this in a whole new light. I think their experiences have made them mature. If they were a little bit more night like with you in the past, they've grown out of it, but they're still cautious, right? The caution card tried to come out. They're still very cautious. I think they want to know that they can be reliable, that they can be steady. But in the future, they're still I think they're going to be thinking about making a move, but they won't make the move until they know that they're 100% ready to do it. The other thing is that I do think that they have to get out of a little bit of a poverty mindset. You know, they want to really feel like their money is in a good place to be there for you. The other thing is I do think that they're trying to manifest money. They're trying to manifest success. It's just, but this whole experience is really getting them to see themselves in a whole new light. But it's bringing a lot of maturity though. The other thing is that it is getting them in touch with the higher powers in their life. That's the other thing, is that all that water can be a lot of, you know, spiritual energy. And your oracle card, you got effort. And you see those hearts that it's pouring, you know. I think this person wants to make the effort with you. They want to make the effort with you. Either that or they're looking forward to a time when they can come out of this Hanged Man energy. Okay, please clarify. Okay, please clarify effort in the Magician. Oh, look at this. Differences. Oh. Oh, wow, guys. You see this? This is two matches that are burnt out, and it says differences. So, you know, it could be that if this person is in some kind of marriage that's costing them financially, because the other thing is that there's two coins and there's two matches there, you know, this person, might, might have learned a lot. Or if this is your energy, what it might be is that, you might just feel like you're way too different. The other thing about the King of Cups is the King of Cups can definitely be your own emotional maturity, where you've grown to the point where you're like, you're not going to stay in a situation that is not salvageable, right? The other thing is that if it is juggling like two people, moving forward, you're gonna, having the emotional maturity to admit, okay, this is not working anymore, this is not going to work, let me go forward and surrender and let go of this, so I can manifest something else. The other thing is that, this person, if someone's a King of Cups in your life, they will make the effort, right? This is not going to be someone who's either juggling you or trying to keep, several people in play, right? That's more night energy. But the other thing is that it's possible that, moving forward, the other thing I kind of get here is it's quite possible that you might meet like kind of a King of Cups person, but it's almost like you have to kind of manifest it. You have to know what works for you. But here I do see somebody, I really get the sense that this is kind of like a married or family person, a family man, and he's working to make money, but it doesn't feel emotionally fulfilling for him. So moving forward, it's going to be that kind of surrender. The other thing is that the Hanged Man is a surrender to God. It's like letting go and letting the universe. But to be the magician, you really do the magician's energy does not come from a place of lack. It comes from knowing that you have all the elements on the table and you can manifest whatever you'd like. So the other thing I kind of get is this person might be trying to get out of a bad situation, because this card did fall right here. So this person might be trying to get out of a bad financial situation so they can go forward and manifest something better. Or if this is your energy, if you're in a tough situation with somebody, it might be better to let go and go ahead and the other thing is nurture the things that nurture you, right? It'll always, you see that infinity symbol. Oh, there's two infinity symbols too. What you feed into will come back to you, right? It should always be reciprocal. It should never be one-sided. But wow, guys, oh my gosh, that's really powerful. But oh my goodness, but that's definitely I do see in the future there's a lot of really good energy there, though, a lot of good energy. All right, so deck number 2, we've got the Sun and Moon Tarot by Vanessa DeCourt. Let me just check on everything. The How to Tarots run a little longer, so okay, so Sun and Moon. Okay, all right. Wow. Okay, future energy. Oh, wow. And the Hanged Man again. Wow, okay, that's going to be a common denominator for sure. All right, let's go ahead and get your clarifying oracle card. Oh, wow, this is interesting, guys. So what I'm getting here is in the past, we got the Three of Swords, and we got underneath we got the Ace of Swords. So what I'm really seeing is that I think the King of Cups is someone that you know. It's like a past relationship. And I really get the sense that you've either been separate from this person, or there was some kind of third party situation that really that caused you a lot of pain. Caused you a lot of pain. Please clarify. Yeah. Yeah. You got the world, you got the universe, and you got strength. So what I am really getting is that I think the King of Cups is your energy. I think you kind of I think you've really kind of learned, because there's full moons in both of these cards. You know, the Ace of Swords is like is an epiphany. It's like there's a realization about something, right? And I think this realization, again, with the King of Cups being that emotionally mature person, it took a lot of strength, and it's almost like you had to end a cycle. There was an end of a cycle, and it took a lot of strength on your part. The other thing that it took was like, it took you being real, almost kind of real with yourself. Because the other thing about strength is like, you know, coming to terms with your really deepest desires. It's like saying, okay, why am I keep dating unavailable people? Or, why do I feel this way? Again, in the intro and the how-to part, we talked about attachment styles. Why do I feel so anxious, or why do I feel so avoidant? It's almost like you kind of like realized what the reasons were for some of your heartaches, right? And it took a lot of strength. I think it took looking at, strength is really about looking at your primal soul, like looking at what your really base needs are, and kind of letting, again, you have a completion of a cycle. The other thing that's interesting about this universe card is you do see like a baby there. It's weird. She looks like she's standing on him, but it is almost kind of like your real. I know everybody throws out the term inner child, but sometimes the beliefs that you have from a young age, or before you've matured, sometimes it takes a lot of honesty, and it does take a lot of, it's very cathartic to kind of churn through those emotions and say, okay, why do I keep ending up in this situation? Why do I keep attracting people like this? Why do I want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with me? Things like that. And I think the King of Cups is just you kind of getting into your own balanced energy, where you're starting to understand it. You're starting to, because there's a lot of swords energy here. In the past, we have the Ace of Swords and we have the Three of Swords. And then the present energy, we have the Eight of Swords, and then you have Temperance, and then you have the King of Swords that crowns it. I think that, we've got two kings here, so what it could potentially be, it's entirely possible that maybe there is three people in this situation. Might be two masculines and one feminine. And what you're kind of realizing is maybe you're having kind of an epiphany, that the King of Cups is really the kind of person that you want to be with. The King of Swords is he can be a little bit of a cold character. He can be a little bit of aloof. The other thing is that he's someone who's very in his head. He's very strategic. Now, if this is your energy, I think what it is that you're reflecting on past relationships or past pain, and it's really kind of, your mind is really kind of opening up. You're really starting to understand why it is that maybe you were attracted to certain types of guys, or attracted to certain type of partnerships that really just ended up, hurting you all the time. And your current energy is really strong, because it's like Eight of Swords. Again, you see puppet strings. Again, you see someone being trapped by their own scripts in their head. And here you see Temperance, which is kind of a balance. you know. The other thing is you see it's kind of a balance of air and water. And you have air and water here. Maybe you are just getting out of your sense, like, I think you're finally telling yourself, okay, I can manifest, I can get whatever I want. You know, I just have to be clear about what it is that I want, right? You have to, the Eight of Swords is being stuck in your own mind, right? In your own thinking. And the King of Swords is a very mental, cerebral person. So I do get the sense that you almost have to balance kind of head and heart. And if you do that, you can find a really, really good person. You can find a really, really good person. Now, the other thing that I kind of get from this, just one other scenario, is that you could be dealing with someone who's very aloof, someone who is kind of, you might, and again, this is someone, I do think this is someone from your past. This is someone that you've probably had some heartbreak with. And they're just, you want the King of Cups, but they're giving you the King of Swords, right? They're kind of playing games with you. And I think what it is that you're just trying to find balance. You just, you want nurturance, and what you're getting is a lot of, kind of some game playing here. And it's almost like you're getting yourself out. You're gonna cut the puppet strings, right? You're gonna cut the puppet strings. You're gonna say, okay, what I want the King of Cups. I want this King of Hearts. I want the man who will be there for me when I need him. The modest and kind and compassionate and heart-centered king. And I think you're going to go after it. You're going to go after it. But I do think it's almost like you have to balance your head and heart. You almost have to, I do think that there's kind of a negative pattern that you've been through time and time again. You keep ending up with the same type of person, and it's not the right person for you. The other thing that I kind of get is that you might, with this Eight of Swords and this King of Swords, and I hate to say it this way because believe me, I've gone through this so much too. I've gone through this so much too. I'm still single. I'm older and I'm still single, and believe me, I feel you. I totally feel you. There are times when I totally tell myself, it's like, okay, I beat myself up in my own head, and sometimes the King of Cups will come up to me, like I'll meet a guy who's really sweet, and I'll turn down the date, I'll refuse his advances. And then I end up going out with another asshole, right? I turn down the good-hearted guy, but then the other guy who's, more, smooth talking or more, and sometimes, and I can tell you, I have the same thing. I have an anxious attachment style, and what it is that it's weird. It's like, if someone seems too there for me, like if someone is sincere and there for me, I don't know what to do with that. It freaks me out because I'm not used to it. It's unfamiliar, right? And unfamiliar becomes scary. But when you're used to someone not being there for you, right? And this is no offense to my family. It's just I grew up in a very military family where my dad was deployed a lot. So not a bad person, wonderful father, always there for me. But there would be 6 to 9 month spans of time when he was he was not at home. And what do? You only have your mom, right? So you kind of get the script in your head where, okay, men are never there, right? And then later on, when you need to get married and have someone reliable, a good father, a good provider, what do you look for? You look for the guy who's never there because that's what you're used to. So I do get the sense, like, I think you've been through a lot of heartache, and you're finally, I get the sense like you're tired of the same, the same wheel, right? And I think you've realized, okay, I need to change the way I see this. I can't, the guy who reminds me of my early childhood might, be attractive because that's my mental script, my psychological script, but what you really do need to do is you need to flip the script. You need to change the inner monologue and I think you're trying to do that with the King of Swords. You're really trying to get control of your mental. You're trying to balance that out. And it doesn't mean that someone's got to be all soft and mushy. You know, if you like someone who gives you your independence, right? The King of Cups will do that. He won't, he won't be claustrophobic. He's not in the reverse. He's not gonna be manipulative. But I do think that you have some triggers with that, and it's gonna be a balance. It's gonna be a balance for you, because I think the idea of someone actually being there for you is intimidating. The other thing that I get is that I think sometimes deep down we start to tell ourselves these negative things like, well, I don't deserve someone to be there for me because I've never had someone be there for me, right? And you most definitely deserve that. You deserve that 100%. If you've been single for a really long time, the universe wants to give that to you on a silver platter, let me promise you. And they might be sending you a few of these King of Cups, and it's just one of those things where if you're not meant psychologically ready to receive it, then it is going to continue to be that bad cycle. But I do think that you're getting a grip on it. You're getting a grip on it because temperance is a recalibration, right? You're really committed to it. Like you want to break out of this Eight of Swords restricted energy. Now this is really interesting, is that moving forward, you've got the Four of Wands, and I love this imagery because you see it almost looks like a merry-go-round, and you see like two people balancing out. And the Four of Wands is a marriage card. It's about like twin flames, right? It's about divine counterparts. But underneath it, you got the Devil. And it's interesting that the Devil, you see two people, and it does kind of look like the same kind of like same circle with the spokes, right? What I see here is this is nothing to be scared of. I think what it is that it's going to be really hard to break those patterns, because that's what the Devil does, right? The Devil stays in your head and makes you think, well, you're not good enough. You don't deserve this. Well, this person's going to, not work out the way that the other people worked out. And what I see here is that I see the Seven of Wands. Ooh, crapioca, excuse me. Ooh, and the Hangman kind of fell in reverse. So I think what it is you're gonna surrender, and you're gonna come out, you're gonna fight the good fight, right? Like in psychology, when you have a negative script in your head, what do? You yell stop, and you replace the negative script with a positive, accurate one. Because you've had the same voice in your head forever. You've had that devil voice in your head that says, oh, well, you get into this relationship, it won't work out. But it will work out. If you're attracted to a King of Cups, it will work out. You have to fight back the negative voices, right? Fight back the negative voices. And the Hangman in the reverse is coming. Hangman in the upright is in action. Hangman in the reverse is taking action. It's like you're no longer going to be trapped by these negative voices. You're gonna go for the right person, male or female. You're gonna go for the King of Hearts, the King of Cups. Now, this is interesting, is that your two love cards is you got mystery, and then you got flirt. So I think this is coaching, guys, because I think the other part of this is that sometimes, and again, when you have a little bit more of an anxious or an avoidant style, you like to be in control, right? And that's a big King of Swords thing too. You mentally want to know how this is going to go, right? But the thing with love is that you don't know how it's going to go. And that's the other thing with the King of Cups, is the King of Cups goes with the flow, right? He doesn't know what's going to happen. The other thing is that, again, sometimes the emotions can be a little up and down. But it's going to be a little bit of a mystery, which is going to be uncomfortable. Again, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first because it's unfamiliar, it's a mystery. But what it's kind of telling you is just flirt. Just flirt, see where it goes. Don't shut it down, I think it's just trying to get you to, the other thing I kind of get is that in order to attract a partner, you do kind of have to lighten up. And I know, believe me, I have to tell myself to do that all the time too. I don't mean to talk down at you at all. It's almost like I'm talking to myself right now. And it's true. I get all serious. I get so serious because, again, you know, when you have a fear of intimacy, or when you have all these scripts going in your head, and you're trying to be healthy, you're trying to be balanced, you're trying to be different, and it's a tough fight. It's a tough fight. And then, you know, someone comes along and it is the unknown, right? It's someone, the other thing is when it's someone who really kind of, you know, someone who goes running through their emotions like that, and that's not what you do, right? But it is just telling you to try to keep it lighthearted, try to flirt. The other thing I really kind of get is that you, the Four of Wands is really kind of a psychic link. It's the two parallels. So I think that when you keep it light, or if you go with the flow, if you flirt, even though it's a little unknown, honestly, I think it's telling you to enjoy the excitement of that. I think you deserve that. I think you've had a lot of, I think you've had, I'm getting a strong sense of this pile. I don't think you've had a lot of joy in love. And that's the thing. That's what's, you know, that's the best part about falling in love, is to feel that thrill, to get a little bit of that high, right? But, you know, when it never works out, or you feel like the person always leaves, and, you know, or, you know, you want the King of Cups, but you keep ending up with, you know, all, you know, the sitting on a cloud by yourself, you know, that's when you start to, I really get a strong sense that the universe wants to break you out of this devil energy. They want to help you fight this energy off, so it stops spoiling your relationships. And I really think they want you to know that it's safe. It's safe. When this guy comes running up with a cup of love, it's going to be, the other thing is, look at that full moon. It's so romantic. It's so romantic, you know, so why not enjoy it? You know, be lighthearted. That's the other thing about, you know, the other thing I get with the King of Cups is that this person would not hurt you. You know, this person is going to be that nurturing, good-hearted, big-hearted person. But I do see a lot of this being kind of maybe your own internal fears. The other thing is that it's amazing, and I again, I don't like to even admit it to myself. There are some times that I'm like, well, I'm just never going to get married, and I completely bemoan that fact. But then I ask myself honestly, again, King of Swords, ask myself honestly, what have I done to actually get married? You know, have I opened up to people? Have I challenged these negative scripts that have kept me single? Those are they're deep questions, and that's very King of Cups energy. Sometimes you got to get real with yourself. But in this spread, definitely, I see that can be done. You can come out of that stagnant energy, and I think the universe is really ready to bring you somebody really good. Really good. But it is going to be a little bit of a mystery. You're not going to be in control of it. You're not going to be in control of it. But I think I'm getting a strong sense that they want you to enjoy the ride. They want you to enjoy the ride. I don't think that you've given yourself the opportunity to enjoy the ride, but I think it is going to feel unfamiliar to you. But it's going to be, the other thing is that I think that they have someone really wonderful in store for you. And again, the Four of Wands is definitely, it not only talks about marriage, but it talks about like soulmates, like, you know, marrying someone who is your counterpart. So that's wonderful, guys. Gosh, ooh, what a good read. All right, so last but not least, we've got the Anna K with these smoky quartz. Let's check on my power, make sure we're all on. Yes, okay. So Anna K, folks, how does the King of Swords manifest? King of Swords, I'm sorry. He's shown up twice before, that's why. Okay, so King of Cups. How does the King of Cups Anna K manifest? Okay, thank you. Oh my goodness. Okay, the present. There's the King of Swords again. Wow. Please clarify the King of Swords. I think he came up in the first read too. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry, future energy, please. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Sorry, channeling a little Annie there. All right. Okay. We on? Can you hear me now? Good. All right. I'm curious. What's our card? Okay. All right. So, wow, guys. Oh, and goodness. Okay. So, can I get one clarifier for the Ten of Swords? Because we always clarify that. Yeah. All right. So, this is really interesting energy here, guys. We've got some interesting energy. We've got 2 10s. We've got 2 knights. And we've got 1 major. And we got an ace. So we've got completion of a cycle, beginning of a new cycle. But I am going to come out and call it. I am going to come out and call it. I do think this is someone from your past. I think this is someone from your past. And I think that kind of similar to like pile 1, this person really kind of broke your heart. You got the 10 of Swords, and I think you felt like this person really stabbed you in the back. You felt really wounded by this. The other thing I kind of get is that I kind of get the sense that it was just kind of like you were just left bleeding. You were left bleeding. The other thing that I see here is underneath the 10 of Swords, you have the Emperor and then you have the 6 of Pentacles. So I can kind of read that one of 2 ways. If you are a man watching this, and you assign the genders as they resonate, you can be a woman in this energy for sure. But if you are a man watching this, it's quite possible that you might have been like in a commitment or in a marriage. It's quite possible that you might have had kids with someone, and either their father, like, you know, like your father-in-law, or someone who was kind of like a boss to you, really kind of threw you under the bus. The other thing that I kind of see here is that with the 6 of Pentacles, you see how there's like a very royal couple here, and you're kind of giving money to someone with a baby. What I'm really getting here is that if you're a woman watching this, you probably royally had your heart broken, and you probably felt really stabbed in the back because this person, and again, King of Cups, this person became a father. They might have fathered a child with someone else. And what he needed to do was, again, you know, King of Cups, he felt like he was doing the emotionally right thing by sticking by his family. You know, sticking by the parent. And the other thing is I do see a strong thing with child support here. Child support. If you're a man watching this, it's quite possible that you were in love with someone, but again, I'm kind of getting like a surprise pregnancy here. You know, either that or somehow you really had to support someone who has a child. And sometimes the Emperor can be that if the Emperor is your energy, like in the past you just really felt kind of like, again, kind of thrown under the bus because you had to either answer to an Emperor, like a real boss type of person, like you owed somebody money, and that person really kind of, you know, gotcha, you know, But what I'm kind of seeing here is, because I'm seeing the King of Cups, the King of Swords, and the Emperor. All of those are father figures. Those are father figures. So I am getting like kind of a surprise. Like, I really do think that, you might have been taken down a peg, because the other thing that I see here is nothing makes you grow up faster than when you have a baby in the mix, right? The moment you become pregnant or get someone pregnant, that makes you grow up really freaking fast. The other thing is that usually involves money, and it, you know, you've got the scales here, right? It's like what you owe. It's what you owe. The only other thing I can see here is that it's quite possible, if you're asking about your King of Cups, someone that you know, that you really look at like the King of Cups, they may have really been kind of screwed over financially by someone. I do kind of see that if this is your energy, if you happen to be a male watching this, I do think that it's almost like your sense of maturity, like your emotional stability was probably really challenged early in life. Like, you probably really got taken advantage of. Like, I almost get like you might have been a little bit more impressionable in your youth, where someone really screwed you over, you know, financially. The other thing that I get is that it's possible that maybe you either had a child young, or you had to support family members who had kids, you know, like or just you're supporting family members. And it almost feels like, again, it kind of feels like a little bit of a betrayal, because it makes you grow up fast. It almost kind of robs you of your childhood a little bit, when you have to, you know, maybe you had to start working really young to support your family. You had to be the emperor, like you had to be the man of the house. But it makes you just feel really stabbed, you know. It's like that kind of things, those kind of things really will, it does, it affects you psychologically. And if you come through the other side, and you see this with a lot of young men. Actually, both of my grandfathers, you know, both of my grandfathers lived through the Great Depression. And, you know, and they were young, they were little, you know, born at that time. So, you know, when you finally do grow up and get into your mature life, and when you have kids of your own, it gives you a whole new perspective. It's like, okay, I kind of get the feeling of like, I never want my kids to go through what I went through, right? But if you are a woman asking about a man, this person does love you. This person loves you. But I think that they did kind of throw you under the bus, or I think it might have felt like a huge betrayal when you found out that they had fathered a child, or they had to walk away from you, or end your relationship, because the other thing is we have 2 6s here. But the other thing I get is that these two kings, the Emperor and the King of Swords, they're so strategic. These two kings are totally about control. And you see at his feet, it looks like a chessboard, and then the King of Swords got a chessboard, and they both have swords, right? So what I'm really getting is that I think somebody really, really betrayed you. Someone really hurt you, and they did it to remain in control. I am getting kind of like a child support, or like a supporting family financially. Either that, or if this is your energy, you might have been screwed over by somebody, you know, somebody in power, you know, or you might owe somebody money, you know, you might owe somebody money. Someone might have bailed you out, you know, when you needed it. But the current energy here, this is really interesting. Again, we have another 10, but we have the 10 of rods. And what's interesting here is that you have a strategic king earning money in order to make a romantic. We've got the Knight of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups. And underneath it, you got someone who's working really hard, someone who's a little overwhelmed, right? And you see the clouds. It's almost like the aftermath here. I think if you're a woman watching this and you're asking about a man, there's someone that you have their heart. They love you. They are emotionally faithful to you, but they got themselves into some trouble. And that trouble, you know, made them grow the hell up. But the problem is that they owe money to an emperor, or they owe money to like the mother of their child. And this was, I think also here, this is hitting rock bottom. The Ten of Swords is hitting rock bottom. So it's quite possible that, you know, you might be surprised, because I do feel like this is someone from your past. The other thing is this person might have pushed you away because they needed to remain in control. You know, they needed to, the commonality between the King of Cups and the Emperor is that they are in control of their emotions. They do not let anything show. The commonality between the Emperor and the King of Swords is that they're strategic. They're but it's quite possible that this person might have had to like leave or because they were hitting like a real rock bottom with their family, or with owing money, or, you know, needing to support a child, you know. But I do see like the ten of Swords as being like, you know, again, like it's almost like someone being strategic on how they're going to handle these situations, and they need to be fair about it, but they feel like again, this person has to stand up after being stabbed 10 times. It's like, oh God, you know, it's a real catastrophic kind of situation. Now, their present energy is that they're in a much better place. It's quite possible that they have like earned enough money to have a stable home. If they do have a child, maybe they've kind of gotten out of the woods. You know, they've gotten past the initial shock that they're a father, and you know they're working and you know, again, able to pay what they need to. And what I see here is that they're kind of making plans, right? They're planning out their strategy. They're still in control, really in control. But the thing is, I do get the sense that they still got a lot of irons in the fire, right? The other thing is that, you know, with what I'm kind of seeing here is that you might have fallen for someone that you really had a heartfelt connection with, but they had so much going on. I really kind of see like they have like a father figure in play, possibly child support. They could be a father, or they could be supporting someone who has a child. And it's just, it felt, you know, it's almost like debilitating. I'm almost getting a sense like they found out that all this stuff was going on, like boom, 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 boom. You know, like, you know, maybe their family said, oh, okay, I'm in trouble. I need to pay the mortgage on the house. Can you help me? And then at the same time, the girl that, you know, they were casually dating says, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant. And then, you know, they had so much going on. And again, you know, it's up to you. If you suffered the Ten of Swords, I would be very careful, because this person has got plans. You know, this person is in control of their emotions, and they have a whole strategy for what they're doing. The other thing I kind of get is, if this is your energy, I think, again, you evolved. You evolved overnight from from hitting rock bottom. But I do kind of get, because I'm seeing your oracle cards, you've got spark, and you got friendship, and you got the Six of Cups, and you got the Six of Pentacles. I do get a love story here, guys. I get a love story here. And I think someone has always been emotionally faithful to you, but they just had a crap ton of crazy stuff going on in their life, involving money, involving kind of power players. And they had to keep calm and carry on. And but I think that they want to come back to you, but they still have presently, presently they are emotionally faithful to you, but they still got a lot going on. But what they're doing is they're making a plan. They're making a plan, and they're good at plans. They're thinking about how they're going to earn enough money to. And if you look at this is the Knight of Cups. You see the lights on in the house, and he's standing there. This person is daydreaming about their plan. They're putting. It's very slow steps, because the Knight of Pentacles is slow moving. They're just busy. They still got a lot going on, but he's daydreaming about his plan. He loves you, but it's just going to take time. It's going to take time, and it's going to take money, and it's like he's putting those pieces into play. It's like he's following the moves. It's the King's Gambit. He's gonna follow the moves that'll get him where he needs to go, get him out of the woods, get him the money. But right now this is just planning. But these are two kings. This person wants to come back to you. And I think they want to explain themselves as well. And now what's beautiful is that, again, the Knight of Cups is really fast, but the Knight of Pentacles is not. So I almost, in the fact that the progression of it is that this person wants to have the stability first. They have to know that they're ready. You know what I'm getting, guys, is that he wants, if there is a child involved, this person wants to come back to you, but they want to have the house. They want to have the house. They're planning all of this, and they still just got so much going on, because we got 10, 10, and then ace. This is wild, guys. This person loves you, but they put you through some heartache, and I think they went through some heartache too. But they're making a plan, and they're moving slowly. But it gets a little overwhelming. It gets a little overwhelming. But they want to earn the money. The other thing is, I'm getting a lot of stability from this. They want it to be stable. But they are daydreaming about it. Now, as you move forward, you got the Six of Cups and you got the Ace of Pentacles. Now, the Six of Cups is really beautiful. You also see someone kind of daydreaming. And what's interesting is you've got one person kind of smelling the flower, and then you got the girl smelling the flower. It's almost like she's up on the balcony and he's at a distance, and she's waiting for him and he's waiting for her. And then underneath it you have the Ace of Pentacles, which is kind of like planting that seed, One thing with the Ace of Pentacles, well, the one thing with the Knight of Pentacles I always kind of think of is sometimes that can be someone going on a mission to offer you something, right? To hand you the pentacle. But what's beautiful is that, like, the Six of Cups is normally two people, and in this deck it's one. This person might kind of make you aware of their plans, and by the future you're waiting. You're waiting. The other thing I kind of get is that there might be some creative visualization here, like, the plans are made, they're just slow going, because he's got, this person's got so much going on. But then the Six of Cups is about reconciliation. And it does look like the Knight, this looks like the same balcony. It's just the Knight hasn't, climbed up to his Juliet yet, right? And then the Ace of Pentacles is about, like, planting that seed to, What I'm almost kind of seeing here is that maybe your person is on their way. And in the meantime, you're saving up money, right? You're planting your own seed. Maybe you're trying to work at work or do things in your life to prepare, right? And because you see the same starry sky, you know, you're going to wait on the balcony for him to come up with the roses, you know. The other thing that I get that's really beautiful is with your oracle cards is you got friendship and you got spark. And what's beautiful about this is that you know, there's that saying that says, you know, real love, deep love is just friendship on fire, right? Maybe you this person is coming in slow in the sense that they become your friend again, you know, after whatever happened, or maybe you're just kind of staying friends right now because, again, you know, I know if someone has a little one, you know, they have to, their priority is with their family, you know. It could be, you know, child support related, where you know, it's like you can't really jump into a new relationship right away, but that they have plans, though. They have plans. The other thing is the Six of Cups is reconciliation, right? But Six of Cups is also really good memories too. It can be like a childhood, you know, a childhood, or what is it, a young love, like a high school sweetheart. But I do get the sense that maybe this person is planning to come back to you, and you're aware of that, and you don't mind keeping it on a friendship level, but you definitely feel a spark with this person. And it's almost like when they do come back, it is going to feel like that, you know, that love connection, you know, that love connection. The other thing that I see here is that, you know, the Knight carries a pentacle, and this Ace of Pentacles. The one thing about the Ace is that it can definitely be a rock. It can be a diamond. It can be a ring. So one thing that you might be feeling like is like you're waiting for this person that you, again, they're your King of Cups. You know, you're waiting for them to come to you, you know, to start this relationship, you know, to set that friendship on fire so it can become something more. You know, it could very potentially be that this person's making plans. They're just really preoccupied. They have too much going on. They're a little overwhelmed. So the other thing I kind of get is that all the things that they're doing might be related to either their family obligations or the, you know, again, child obligations, child support. They just, it's making it a slow process is what I'm seeing. You know, this person does love you. They are strategizing. They're making plans. It's just, and they're daydreaming about it as much as you are. It's just, it's slowing down. It's like, it's, you know, if these, if I'm not going to say challenges. It's not challenges. But if these obligations were not there, it would have been like, okay, they would be knocking on your door, you know. But it's almost like downgrading them. It's slowing them down. It's making a king slow down to the pace of a knight, you know, and especially the Knight of Pentacles. He's the slowest moving knight, but he's the most steady, though. And but I also get that I think that if this does involve children, or, you know, like a previous marriage or commitment, it's the emotionally right thing to do, and he's taking that into consideration because, again, the other thing is that, you know, there's plenty of really wonderful blended families, you know, marriages, divorces, and then remarriages, but you know, depending on the age of the child, you know, again, we said the King of Cups is very concerned that his child is raised in a happy environment, that there's nothing happens that, you know, jars or affects their development. And definitely, you know, conversations of, you know, whose weekend is who, and, you know, you're bringing around new people, you know, stepmoms, stepfathers. That's, you know, that's, I think this person's priority is making sure their child is raised well, even though they do really, I think they really love you, you know, but they're working hard. The other thing is that this person is working hard to make this happen. It's just going to a snail's pace. The other thing that I do kind of get is that maybe it's kind of advice that go ahead and save up your money, or you know, kind of do your own thing. But the Six of Cups is about reconciliation, right? It is also about like old friends and childhood sweethearts. someone who's really there for you. So that's the other thing that I kind of get from this, is that I think this person is really there for you. You know, yeah, this person's really there for you. And then, but this does bode really well with the Six of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles underneath. I do think that, I think you're still in contact with this person, and that you still have a really strong friendship, and that, but there's something more there. There's definitely something under the surface. There's a spark. There's most definitely a spark. So that's a really beautiful future. But this King of Swords kept popping up in the King of Swords kept popping up in the Queen of Swords, in the Queen of Cups read. So he's just making his presence known. But all right, guys, I thank you so much for joining me today, and I thank you so much for joining me on this journey. This is the last video of the How to Tarot. It's been 78 weeks. We have not missed a week. We have not skipped a day. I don't even know how many hours of footage it is. It's a whole heck of a lot. But this has been a very, very special contribution for me. I learned so much from watching other readers. I watch other videos here on YouTube. I'm very, very honored to be a part of this community. And I'm very grateful that that I get a chance to do what I do. And for as out there in woo-woo and new age as it seems, I learned so much from the cards. I learn new things every single day, and I'm just very grateful that you have watched my channel and help my channel grow. I am so thankful for every single one of my subscribers, and this has been a very, very wonderful and rewarding experience. And I thank you again for, participating and watching it and being there with me. But as we move forward, I'm going to take a little bit of a break for a while. I'm going to take, my film time back and kind of do some downtime. But I will still be here every Saturday with the weekly energy card reading. And I will also be posting before Easter. Before Easter Sunday, I will be posting a deck review video about my angel and meditation oracle decks. So please stay tuned for that. And then I will also continue to do deck special posts about love readings and other themed readings, and deck reviews and flip throughs as I get new decks. So I hope you can join me back then at that time, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.